The recent happenings and events that took place in Bangladesh have created a wave that stirred the whole world and especially India. In this context, we need to understand what is the history and present of the Bangladesh situation. So I'll explain it to you. Let's start with a pre-partition India, the 1947, the times of 1947. So we are essentially talking about this map where the region encompassed is known as the British India. This map is of the pre-1947. The 1947 was the year when India and Pakistan were divided from each other. All right, when Pakistan was carved from the British India. However, before that, the Bengal itself, here is the region of Bengal. It was divided into two parts, the West Bengal and the East Bengal, which was a Muslim area, Muslim dominated area, and this was a Hindu dominated area. We are talking about the West Bengal. In 1947, the partition of India took place. We are talking about this date, this year, a very unfortunate year in the events of modern India, 1947, when the partition of India took place. The Pakistan was created. This was Pakistan. But now, except for the only West Pakistan, it also had a branch here in the East Pakistan. And this was separated by the Indian territory. They had no geographical connection between the West Pakistan and East Pakistan. All right. So the West Pakistan is the territory that currently comprises the current Pakistan, and East Pakistan is now known as the Bangladesh. They were separated by around 1600 kilometers of Indian territory. So again, the second British mistake. Now let's see one thing, that both the East Pakistan and the West Pakistan, they were very different culturally, economically, and politically. The East Pakistan was Bengali speaking, and the West Pakistan was Urdu speaking. They had different political affirmations and different cultural affirmations because you can see the geographical distance between them. That is why there was a discontent between both of these parts or regions. In 1952, there was a language movement. Language movement. Just a second, I'll change the pen color here. So you can see the pictures I have attached here. Alright, so there was a language protest because Pakistan, the West Pakistan, wanted to impose Urdu as the sole national language. Urdu as the sole national language, which led to protest in the East Pakistan, or we can just say Bangladesh. The movement culminated in the death of several protesters, which is very unfortunate, on February 21st, 1952. This date, the February 21st, is now observed in Bangladesh as International Mother Language Day. Now, furthering on, what happened in 1966, there was a 6 point movement. This is very important to understand if we are to understand what is happening right now. So, there was a leader named as Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He was the leader of the Awami Party. Awam means the public. The Awami Party or Awami League. Awam means the general public. So the public party basically. Alright, so Sheikh Mujibur Rahman proposed a 6 point movement. He created 6 demands to be fulfilled by the West Pakistan, which would demand greater autonomy for the East Pakistan. Greater autonomy for the East Pakistan. But it led to tensions between the West Pakistan and the East Pakistan, separated by India. Alright, now let us see the further what happens. In 1970, there came a turning point, the general elections. Very naturally, the leader, which was Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, won the elections. So Awami League saw a victory in the general elections of 1970. which comprised of the West Pakistan and the East Pakistan. It secured 167 out of 169 seats in the East Pakistan. So that gave the party a majority in the National Assembly of Pakistan, of the whole Pakistan. We are talking West plus East. So very obviously, the West Pakistan was not happy with this leader winning such a majority in the assembly, and there was a political stalemate. That means the leader of the West Pakistan, they did not want him to have, or his party to have, a majority in the Pakistan's parliament or national assembly. All right. So the ruling authorities in the West Pakistan, he was the president, the Yahya Khan, and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. These were the leaders of the West Pakistan at that time. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. They refused to transfer power to the Awami League, escalating tensions. However, this political stalemate led to discontent, major discontent in the Bangladesh. In the Bangladesh. And Bangladesh said that we will not stick or adhere to the West Pakistan now. We pledge our independence. So in on March 7, 1971, the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman delivered a historic speech in Dhaka, which is now the capital of Bangladesh, urging Bengalis to prepare for a struggle for independence. Independence. All right. On March 25th, 1971, Pakistan was obviously not happy with this. So they started an operation known as the Operation Searchlight. Operation Searchlight. So in this operation, the West Pakistanis or the Pakistanis, they did what they chose specific people, specific students, the scholars, and they killed them out of the universities, and they did so much of trouble, so much of damage to the Bangladesh, let's say, people. So this was, let's say, aimed towards the suppression of independence movement of Bangladesh. It led to widespread atrocities in the Bangladesh or East Pakistan. Now what happened further? On March 26, 1971, the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, which was supported by India also, he declared the independence of Bangladesh, marking the beginning of the liberation war. So there was a war. So he was supported by India in this. So India that time Prime Minister was Indira Gandhi. All right. So she also supported the independent movement of the Bangladesh. Multiple million of refugees fled to India, prompting India to intervene militarily. All right, multiple refugees, millions of them fled to India. India had to support the Bangladesh militarily. Now what happened further? In December 3, 1971, okay, Pakistan did some trouble. It launched airstrikes on Indian airbase. Okay, Pakistan launched airstrike on the Indian air bases just to stray the India's attentions towards here and, let's say, divert its attention from the here. But India was very strong, of course. So there was a war started between India and Pakistan, the war of 1971. And in that, eventually, what happened? The Pakistani military was defeated, India was victorious, and Pakistani military surrendered to the joint force of the Indian Army and the Mukti Bahini. That was the Bangladeshi Liberation Force. This Mukti Bahini is very important for us. Mukti Bahini. They were the freedom fighters towards the Bangladesh independence movement. Now, what happened after this war? The leader, which was Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So he emerged as the father of the nation of Bangladesh. Father of the nation. And obviously, he became the prime minister also. Okay, prime minister of Bangladesh as well as father of the nation. The similar, let's say, position to the Mahatma Gandhi in our country. Okay, so he also was known as the Bagbandhu. Okay, now what happens? In 1975, just 4 years later, he, the Mujibur Rahman, with his whole family, were assassinated. They were shot to death. Okay, by conspiracy by some army people and other. So he had two daughters. One is the Sheikh Hasina and Sheikh Rehana. So both of them escaped because they were abroad at that time. This was Sheikh Hasina. Now, further on, what happens? That Sheikh Hasina and Sheikh Rehana survived because they were abroad at that time. So, after her father's assassination, Sheikh Hasina lived in exile in India and later in Europe. Later on, she returned to Bangladesh in 1981. Okay, 6 years later, after being elected as the president of the Awami League, and this was the start of her political career. Now, she became the leader of the Awami League. All right. Further on, what happens in 1981? She became the founder of the party and new founder of the party, new leader of the party. During the 1980s and 1990s, Sheikh Hasina became a key opposition figure against military and the authoritarian regimes in Bangladesh. Her political career was marked by protest, arrest, period of detention, multiple things. But she was completely against the military atrocities and authoritarian regime. Okay, 1996, what happens? 1996, there is something major. So Sheikh Hasina wins the elections in 1996. She becomes the prime minister of the Bangladesh. So now when she became the prime minister of Bangladesh, she did so many things which changed the fate of Bangladesh. First thing, she was pro-India. Okay, she moved the country in economic terms. Even the GDP per capita income, they become even better than the India. Per capita income, they became even better than the India, the hunger index, everything. Okay, Bangladesh overall became a better country than what it was in 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, and so on. In 2001 to 2008, 2001 to 2008, after losing the 2001 election, she lost the elections. Sheikh Hasina led the opposition against the Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP). So this BNP had strong ties with the army, and the Awami League was against it. All right, led by the Sheikh Hasina. However, there was much development in the time of Sheikh Hasina. In 2008 election, Sheikh Hasina won again, and which marked the current, let's say, phase of the Bangladeshi government. Now you can see Sheikh Hasina has very good relations with India. She keeps visiting India. There are multiple projects with India, and especially Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, and the Sheikh Hasina have very good ties, which makes some people unhappy, China, such as the USA. Okay, they may have played a role in this conspiracy with the army, but that is all for allegations. All right. So during her governance, multiple things happened. Okay, such as the economic growth, the infrastructure. There was a war crimes tribunal established during her time. Okay, which would follow the rules of the International Crimes Tribunal. Second thing, there were multiple liberalization attempts and privatization of the economy attempts, such as multiple things basically, the capitalist market economy, which would lead Bangladesh become a good economic country. Okay, so now everything was going great except for the one thing, that was the quota system. That was the quota system, similar to the reservation system in India. Okay, so we'll understand this now in a very simple manner. So starting out in 1971, so there were multiple freedom fighters here which were looking for jobs, which were looking for, let's say, a career. So to them, a 30% quota was provided by the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in 1972. So since this quota was provided, the number of such people reduced. Like the freedom fighters, let's say they were so much in 1971, almost everyone was a freedom fighter. To 2018, 2016, there were so less people. So all of these people died. Of course, the first generation who were the freedom fighters. So their second generation, their third generation, they were all keeping let's say getting quotas of 30% in the government jobs. So of course, other people were very unhappy with this. What happened in 2018? So there were widespread protests by the students against this quota system. They were saying that, let's say, even if now 200 students are there, okay, they are getting 30% of the quota, so all 200 are getting selected. Okay, and this is not being used, let's say, completely or rightfully, this 30% quota. Also, these people are complete supporters of the Awami League party. So this reservation is being unfaithfully or unfairly given to these people. In 2018, there were widespread protests. So Sheikh Hasina did what? She said no to reservation. Okay, completely remove any reservation. So this also made the students unhappy. They said that we want a reformation. We want a reformation. We do not want the complete abolition, because a reformation would be in our favor, not the complete abolition. All right. So in 2024, again, what happened? The Supreme Court of the Bangladesh said that this order, which came in 2018 by the Sheikh Hasina, is null and void. We are reinstating the reservation system. 56% reservation will now be provided to the people. Okay, some of them will again be towards the freedom fighters and so on. So students were again unhappy with this. They said that what are you doing again and again? You are not listening to us. Okay, we will not cooperate with this. So multiple protests started. Non-cooperation movement started, that we will not pay taxes, we will not do any job that government has given to us. Okay, now finally Supreme Court said what? In 2024 only, latest in August. So in July, August, it said that okay, 93% of the uh, let's say seats will be given by the merit, and only 7% will be given by the quota system. But till now, between this, the protest had taken much angry phase, and now there was no going back. These protests were also supported by the army. Okay, and these protests basically become sort of violent. They become sort of violent. So now army said that we will take responsibility from here. We'll do a coup, army coup, and now Sheikh Hasina has given 45 minutes to flee off the country. So Sheikh Hasina had no, let's say, option from here. So these protests took a violent phase, and there was an army coup. Now after this, what happens? Just a second. So after this, what happens? Sheikh Hasina came to India, the safe place for democracy and democratic leaders. So Sheikh Hasina came to India, her friend, and what happened in Bangladesh? That army took over initially. Just a second. So army took over initially. The army general issued a statement, and now latest, what has happened? That Muhammad Yunus. So he is a Nobel laureate, and he has become the leader of the interim government that Bangladesh has formed. But now we can say that everything is under the indirect or direct control of army, and Sheikh Hasina is still in India. All right, so it becomes let's say a curious subject to see what happens in the future towards the Bangladesh. The same thing has happened in Myanmar also. The Janta government has taken over, basically the army, and the leader Aung San Suu Kyi, she has been home detained since I think last 2 3 years. Okay, so this has been going on, and we have already seen the case of Dalai Lama, who took exile in India for many years now, and now Sheikh Hasina has also come to India. Okay, so let's see that what happens in the future, and we can just prepare a case study about it. Let's say for studies. So this was about today's lecture. If you have any question, comments, or feedback, you can let me know in the comment section. I'll be very happy to help you about everything. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead, and see you soon.